What's up, badass Warhammer Odyssey fans? With Warhammer Odyssey coming out soon, I figured it would be good to cover all 6 classes that will be available when the game becomes available in just a few days. While there's 6 main classes, each of these classes has 2 subclasses to choose from. I will be covering these in detail. This way you know which you can decide on before you start your journey in Warhammer Odyssey. Before I do, I want to give a few shoutouts to people who have helped with this video. The first is MoboGamers, who covers Warhammer Odyssey as well as other popular mobile MMOs like myself. The second is Nylak, who covers mainly Warhammer Odyssey content on YouTube. I will link both of these channels in the description below. Be sure to head over to them and check them out. Moving on, there is 6 main classes. Each of these main classes has 2 subclasses. Each of these subclasses will give additional variation to each class. These subclasses are unlocked once you reach level 10 for the respective class. Let's begin by covering the ArchMage, as this is the first one on the list. The ArchMage can specialize into a powerful healer, protecting their entire party from certain death, or a destructive caster with incredibly powerful, high damaging spells. The first subclass focuses on damage and is called the Master of Heavens. This subclass focuses on CCing targets and heavy lightning focused damage. The Master of Heavens is a primary ranged class, so they are weaker when it comes to taking damage. Typically, you're going to want to stay far away from your targets while CCing them into place until you can kill them. The Master of Heavens commands a terrifying arsenal of AoE and single target spells. The second subclass is called the Master of Life. This class focuses on healing your teammates, buffing your teammates, and even reviving them if they perish during combat. This class, again, is a weaker ranged class, so they cannot take a heavy amount of damage, but they can heal. The Master of Life utilizes powerful heals and protective buffs while debuffing enemies as well. This class is best used in a party situation as they do not offer a ton of damaging skills. Survivability is their strong suit. For weapons, they have a main hand weapon. It's either a 2-handed staff or a 1-handed sword. And for the offhand, if you don't have the 2-handed staff equipped, you do have to equip a magical focus orb. Up next, we have the Dwarf Engineer. The Dwarf Engineer is a support class that is capable of holding their own. They thrive while working with allies, though. Their assortment of turrets allow them to control the flow of battle and adapt to situations at a moment's notice. The 2 subclasses for the Engineer are the Powdersmith and the Machinesmith. The Powdersmith focuses on more damage output, offering turrets that focus on more damage and help increase your damage. While the Powdersmith offers turrets and a Blundersmith for high damage, it also comes with medium range. While the Machinesmith focuses on survivability, offering a turret that taunts enemies, this Machinesmith also has turrets that help buff the team and are more suited towards team play and survivability. The Powdersmith is your DPS engineer, focusing on more damaging turrets and buffs, while the Machinesmith focuses on survivability, team buffs, and even a turret that taunts targets. The Machinesmith offers crowd control gadgets while dual-wielding a hammer and pistol. Up next, we have the Shadow Warrior. The Shadow Warrior is a hybrid ranged or melee fighter that uses stealth, evasion, and critical strikes to defeat their enemies. The 2 subclasses to choose from with the Shadow Warrior are Path of the Veiled Arrow or Path of the Silent Blade. Path of the Veiled Arrow ambushes enemies with precise, long-ranged bow attacks and crippling movement debuffs. This is your typical ranged class with the 2-handed bow for its main weapon. The Path of the Veiled Arrow options allow for long-range damage, which roots and snares your enemies to keep your foes at bay. The second subclass is your Path of the Silent Blade, which uses stealth to weave in and out of combat and strike foes from behind. He does offer stealth for a short duration and can be deadly with his dual-wielding swords. He focuses on stealth and positional attacks to quickly burst down targets. He's also great for avoiding combat to get to and fro from completing quests quicker. One of the fastest leveling classes in the games because of his stealth capability. Up next, we have the Slayer. The Slayer is a melee combatant, either as a damage dealer or as a tank. He stokes his rage as he fights, becoming stronger and faster as the battle persists, so he does focus on rage. The 2 subclasses for the Slayer are Dragon Slayer or Troll Slayer. The Dragon Slayer dual wields axes for high sustained single target damage and reliable critical strikes. This class is the DPS version of the Slayer. This is a melee-focused single-target DPS class with high damage output, focusing on critical strikes to maximize its damage. The Troll Slayer focuses on AoE damage with taunt and damage resist abilities using a two-handed battle axe. There's only 2 tanks in the game, and the Troll Slayer is one of them. Being the tank version of the Slayer, this class focuses on survivability and is a bit better suited for a party gameplay. He does not offer a huge damage output, but they are very hard to kill. Up next, we have the Warrior Priest. The Warrior Priest is a devout melee fighter that uses shouts and prayers to protect himself and his allies. The 2 subclasses for the Warrior Priest are the Order of the Silver Hammer and Order of the Cleansing Flame. The Warrior Priest's options are either a tank or a healer. This class is not one of your DPS classes. Order of the Silver Hammer helps to shield allies from enemies with taunts, crowd controls, and defensive buffs. This is the second of the 2 tanks. He again is not a great DPS class, but he is very hard to kill. You are going to want to be in a party with him when using him, as he is better suited for party gameplay. Order of the Cleansing Flame is the second subclass. This class focuses on supporting allies with powerful heals and crushes enemies with a two-handed hammer. This class is the second of the 2 healing classes, focusing on keeping allies alive. He does come with a bit more DPS skills over the ArchMage healing class, Master of Life. However, he is still not a top DPS class, as he does also help keep teammates alive with his heals. The last class is the Witch Hunter. Both in solo play and within a group, the Witch Hunter is a damage dealer who aims to provide a consistent high damage output reinforced by situational crowd control effects. The 2 subclasses for the Witch Hunter are Sigmarite Templar and Sanctioned Hunter. The Sigmarite Templar chains together skill combos to inflict devastating critical strikes. They utilize one-handed melee weapons, typically a sword, and high damage critical attacks and status effects. This is a melee DPS class focused on close quarter combat and high critical strikes and buffs. The second subclass is the Sanctioned Hunter. The Sanctioned Hunter wears down enemies with mid-range pistol attacks and debilitating bleeds. This is a mid-range class with a pistol as its main weapon. This class also focuses on bleeds for a good portion of its damage. In summary, you have 6 classes to choose from. Each class comes with 2 subclasses. The Archmage, you have either a ranged DPS class with the Master of Heavens or a ranged healing class with the Master of Life. The second is the Engineer. The 2 choices are the Powdersmith, which is your mid-range DPS option, or the Machinesmith, which is your mid-range, more support role, offering buff turrets and taunt turrets. Up next is a Shadow Warrior with 2 options, Path of the Veiled Arrow, which is a ranged option coming with a 2-handed bow, or the Path of the Silent Blade, which is going to be your stealth, does offer invisibility, and swords as its main weapon. It is a melee range, or a melee class, not ranged. After that is the Slayer. 2 options there. The Dragon Slayer, which is going to be your melee DPS class focusing on rage. After that is going to be your Troll Slayer, which is going to be your tank option with buffs, focusing on rage as well. After that is the Priest Warrior, focusing on either Order of the Silver Hammer, which is going to be your tank with taunts and defensive buffs, or Order of the Cleansing Flame, which is going to be your healing class, the second of the 2 healing classes. This one is going to be a little bit more of a damaging healing class. Lastly is that Witch Hunter. The Witch Hunter, you have either the Sigmarite Templar or the Sanctioned Hunter. The Sigmarite Templar is going to chain together skill combos and going to be a little bit more of a ranged class focusing on critical strikes, while the Sanctioned Hunter wears down enemies with mid-range pistol attacks and debilitating bleeds, so they are going to focus more on bleeds. That covers everything for the Warhammer Odyssey class overview. I hope that helps you guys in deciding on which class you want to go with when the game does launch here in just a few days. If you've enjoyed the video and you've learned something, by all means, smash that like button on your way out. If you're new and you want some more Warhammer Odyssey content, as well as mobile MMO content, be sure to smash that subscribe button. And with that being said, I will see you next time.